This video depicts a situation that was neither safe nor wise and possibly in breach of VFR rules. I thought long and hard about whether I should post it on my channel or not, but in the spirit of safety and disclosing my mistakes so that others may learn and hopefully not do the same, I've decided it is worth it. For your information, I have a UK issued PPL along with an IRR rating as well as a night rating. I'm an experienced instrument pilot, but I'm not an instructor, and none of my videos should be used for instruction. The little Pipersport I currently fly is certified for daytime VFR flight only, and whilst flying it, I'm required to always maintain visual flight rules. As a quick reminder, VFR on top of unbroken cloud without being inside the surface is allowed under the VFR rules, but for an aircraft travelling below 140 knots you must have 5 kilometres of forward visibility, be above 3,000 feet and be clear of cloud horizontally by 1,500 metres and vertically by 1,000 feet. I did a little video on the VFR rules and I'll pop a card above and also a link in the description if you'd like to take a look later. I'm a strong advocate of flying to the full extent of your abilities and your licence privileges and enjoy flying VFR above cloud legally whenever safe and possible. However, there's always the chance that once you get above it, you may not be able to get back down again. I like to think I'm pretty aware of the weather situation, especially when I do pop upstairs. But on a recent local flight, things didn't go quite to plan, and as you'll see, I ended up in a situation no VFR only pilot should ever get themselves into.
Oh, that sun is so bright. Where's all my holes gone? Bloody hell.
Welcome to Shortfield, the channel all about the lighter side of aviation. And today we're going to look at a situation I got myself in where I just should have known better. It was a really cold, cloudy, late winter's afternoon when I departed Northfield for a little local flight. With the short days and the no night flying rule at my airfield as it shuts 30 minutes after sunset, and with the daytime only restriction on my aircraft, I knew I only had time for a little local buzz, and if possible, to try and get some nice photos. As I climbed out and turned to the east, it looked as though I was going to be stuck under the cloudy grey skies for the whole flight. My easterly track was taking me out towards the Essex coast, and as I trundled along I started noticing the cloud rising and thinning, and with the controlled airspace around London also increasing, I decided to start a climb. I kept the cloud around 200 feet above me all times. By the time I got into Colchester, the cloud was very thin and really nothing more than the sort of wispy stuff you get on the top of an inversion. There were also some pretty large holes developing where the cloud was breaking up, and I could see the blue sky above. Time was getting on and the sunset was less than 20 minutes away, which gave me under an hour to get back to my airfield some 40 odd miles away. But with the cloud base now well above 3,000 feet and with the controlled airspace another 2,500 feet above that, I could legally climb on top through one of those holes and catch a glimpse of the sun, which hadn't shown itself for days. It was going to be tight, but I just couldn't resist a quick look. I hunted around for a decent hole and noted the outside air temperature was -3 degrees centigrade as I set climb power on the little sport cruiser, raised the nose and powered through what was less than 100 foot of very tenuous murk where even through the light clouds you could clearly see the ground, and I emerged into the most stunning sight. That fluffy carpet of candy floss land opened up in front of me, and I felt lifted as finally the grey and the murk had gone, and all I could see was a feather bed topped with a gradient of soft golden light, fading into a clear still blue sky, and the cold of the winter's day below had transformed into the warmest of summer sunsets, and I could feel that warmth from the setting sun on my back. It's a magical, privileged world up here. As I continued my climb to try and get a decent gap above the tops, I could see where the cloud was breaking, and anyway I could pretty much see the ground when looking straight down through the cloud, giving me the confidence that getting back below it again wouldn't be a problem. The outside air temperature had also risen by a staggering 8 degrees centigrade. No wonder that inversion was so defined. After spending a few minutes taking some photos and getting lost in the view, I suddenly noticed the time was getting on and I needed to turn back and get back below again. However, as I banked the aircraft around 180 degrees, I realised I got a problem.
Oh, that sun is so bright. Where's all my holes gone? Bloody hell.
Turning into that low setting sun was making those holes I was relying on almost impossible to see. Even though looking straight down I could still see through the light cloud to the ground. Turning away from the sun was better, but now as it was getting darker it was becoming harder to see what was a clear area and what was just a shadow in the cloud. If I had climbed up higher to where I should have been, it would have been easier to see the breaks. But as I was worrying about the time, I just kept hunting around close to the tops. I could see what looked like really broken cloud to the north, but that would be taking me even further from home. So I just carried on looking where I was. I was about to give up and accept that a descent through the thin cloud was inevitable when I saw it. It'd be tight, but there's a hole.
Yep, that's a gap there. Go through that.
I shot past the gap in the clouds and gave myself plenty of space and then did a 180 back toward it. Initially I thought I'd lost the hole, but no, there it was. I was talking to a radar service all the time who kindly passed me traffic details, but luckily there was nothing in my immediate vicinity that would stop me descending.
Golf Charlie Zulu, that Cherokee traffic is well west of you, tracking westbound now. There's traffic at Clacton VOR, northwestbound at 4,000 feet, working the London FIR.
Copy that. Golf Charlie Zulu, just going to turn left and descend.
Roger.
The feeling of speed you get when being so close to the cloud tops always amazes me. And as I approached my hole and could see the ground straight to my left, I turned toward the hole, reduced power and let the nose drop to start getting back down under the inversion. The descent through the hole was really strange because although it looked as though the cloud was about 100 to 200 feet thick, in fact it was so thin and wispy that even when looking to the sides and through it I could see the ground. Within a few seconds I was back under and into the grey murk once more as I set course for home. I made it back without incident with around 10 minutes of daytime left. It was a close run thing, but I was home. I made a bad call climbing above the clouds, even though in reality it was nothing more than a sharp inversion capped by some very light cloud. It's difficult to see on a video, but I genuinely could see the ground through the cloud almost all the time when looking straight down. But with the low sun causing long shadows and a general reduction in daylight, what would have been fine to be above during the middle of the day was now not. Also, by being under a time constraint of having to be on the ground before official night meant I was adding to the pressure to get down again literally as soon as I'd gone above. If I hadn't had that pressure, I probably would have climbed higher and turned to the north where there was a definite area of clear sky. I've taken a few lessons from this flight. Firstly, never put yourself in a position where you are forcing yourself to do things that you would not normally do had you had more time. Secondly, that conditions that may be fine at one time during the day may not be at another. For example, that inversion may have been a lot easier to see through had it been lit from the sun during midday as opposed to being at such a low angle. And finally, I've had reinforced something that I've always known. Climbing above cloud is optional, but coming back down again is mandatory. And that VFR rules and VMC minima are there to stop us making silly mistakes that could potentially kill us. This was a true error of judgment. I should not have gone above the cloud with time constraints and the setting sun, and I was amazed at how that low sun made what should have been an easy VFR on top much more difficult. The flight was never really unsafe, but I did make a poor judgment, have definitely learnt a lesson from it. Have you ever done anything similar? Maybe you didn't load enough fuel and had to divert, or you pressed on in weather you should not have done, and how did you overcome it? Please pop your comments in the section below. I'd love to hear about your thoughts, experiences or recommendations, and I try to read every comment. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you found this video interesting. But please remember, I'm not an instructor. This is all based on my personal experience as a private pilot in the UK. Fly safe guys, Shortfield out.